Hey guys, RanterInShades here, exercising my first amendment rights vlog style. This is the final part of a 4-part series I made with AtticusTheDeathMetaller when I visited him in Florida, going over what may very well be the stupidest metal list ever, published by Hit Parader in November 2006. If you haven't seen the previous parts, click the link in the description to the playlist for the series. Now let's get on with the video.
25, Trent Reznor.
Every wannabe Columbiner's favorite band, Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah. Not a band I like, but I respect them for pretty much laying the groundwork for what industrial metal would be known as. So, when Trent Reznor returned to the rock scene in 2005 after a multi-year absence, everyone everywhere clamored to know where the dark-haired genius had been. Had he gone off to commune with holy men atop mountains in the Himalayas? Had he sequestered himself in the recording studio inventing new means of musical expression? Fact was that while the world wondered about his whereabouts, Reznor was facing the fight of his life, battling to overcome a variety of personal demons, some of which threatened to silence one of the most important rock and roll forces of his generation. But thankfully, not only did Reznor overcome his problems, he's returned to making music with more vitality and vision than ever before.
What's funny is that today I was watching my Death Metal Historian episode on Columbine, and the first song I used was Hurt. I mean, everyone always associates the Johnny Cash cover of Hurt, but Nine Inch Nails' song of Hurt is just so sad.
It's really eerie how different
it's so depressing.
Yeah. 24, James Hetfield.
Metallica. I had to do it.
Yep.
I have nothing against James, but every time it's his birthday, I always post a picture of a table.
Yep.
And I do it with love.
But yeah, some people are probably going to be surprised to see him only at number 24 and not higher.
I mean, Metallica is one of the biggest metal bands out there.
The biggest.
Yeah, the biggest. Like, commercially successful.
Yeah. I wouldn't say his vocal ability is great, but it's definitely recognizable, and that's a big defining characteristic of Metallica. So.
Agreed.
James Hetfield rarely gets his due credit as a vocal innovator. As the frontman/rhythm guitarist for Metallica, Hetfield's role in conveying his band's classic pedal-to-the-metal odes is often overlooked in the wake of the group's guitar-driven passions. On a multitude of levels, that's a true shame. But make no mistake about it, the rugged timbre of Hetfield's voice is just as vital to the sonic impact made by the Metalli-Men as any other musical ingredient in their timeless, platinum-coasted hard rock formula. In fact, try to place a different vocalist within the context of the band's sound and see how you react. Ain't quite the same, is it?
Yeah, but still, Metallica's up there.
Number 23, Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam.
Even flow. I had to do it. I had to do it.
For as much as his Jarl is very stereotypical, I do actually consider him a pretty great singer.
Yeah, they're another good grunge band.
Metal, though, on a metal list,
it's all Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam.
It's one of those interesting factoids of rock and roll history that Eddie Vedder became the very unwilling poster boy for the grunge revolution of the early 90s. He hated the acclaim that came his way, but it came his way because people heard something very special in his powerful wail. His face adorned mainstream magazine covers, and his style of dress became a totally unintended fashion statement. But underneath the flannel shirt, the cut-off shorts, and flowing hair lurked the heart and soul of a truly great performer, and perhaps it isn't going too far to state that it was Vedder singing on a string of classic Pearl Jam songs that gave voice to his generation far more than that of his fellow Seattleite Kurt Cobain.
Seattle with the grunge scene, that put Seattle on the map.
Yeah.
And now Chaz has taken over. I had to make a reference to Chaz.
God damn it. I do agree with this, that Vedder is a much better singer than Kurt Cobain, but still, I don't know if this is a band that belongs on this list.
Yeah, again, this list is a smorgasbord.
Yeah.
It's a variety pack for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Number 22, Klaus Meine of the Scorpions.
Great band. I remember Lords of Chaos. You were in a Scorpions patch, poser. But Scorpions is a great band.
Yeah. In an age when most rock stars were tall, blonde, and beautiful, Klaus Meine was short, bald, and decidedly middle-aged. But that didn't stop the Scorpions' dynamic vocalist from becoming one of the most successful and respected singers of the 80s. On a string of infectious pop metal hits like the anthemic Rock You Like a Hurricane, Mine's soaring voice and amusingly accented phrasing battled with his band's patented double guitar attack to provide metalheads around the world with some of the best hard rock music of the time. For sure.
They were more like a rock band.
I've always considered them part of Glam.
Yeah, great band in Germany.
Yeah, very good voice. 21, Maynard James Keenan.
Of Tool, In a Perfect Circle, and Pussifer. and a bunch of other projects. Fun fact, I actually met him in person when he was the celebrity sound guy for Fear Factory when I saw them live. Yeah, a little bit of ATTM lore. I just love how, like, Tool fans are a different breed.
So what do they say? The beauty of Maynard James Keenan, if such a word can be utilized to describe his unusual work, is that he could walk into the room you're sitting in right now and you probably wouldn't recognize him. Indeed, it is Keenan's chameleon-like ability to blend into the musical background, whether that is with his primary band Tool or his highly successful side project A Perfect Circle, rather than preen like the quintessential rock star that earmarks the unique approach he brings to his craft. But such a beneath-the-rock-and-roll radar approach works perfectly to augment Keenan's creepy-crawly vocal dynamics and his netherworldly onstage tactics. In fact, it wouldn't be going too far out on a ledge to state that this may be one of the most unique performers in the history of hard rock. Now, 20, Kurt Cobain. Nope. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. I respect Nirvana fine for what they did for the music world, but...
They were just sort of just meh.
Yeah, I mean, leaving aside the fact that I don't really like Nirvana, the fact is, who considers Nirvana metal?
They're just like, oh, they were such an awesome band! When they think of grunge, they always think of Nirvana.
Yeah.
When there was like other, I mean, I'm not gonna downplay anything on Nirvana. They did, in fact, put Nirvana on the map. I mean, grunge in Seattle on the map. But, my goodness, there were other bands of the grunge scene that were a lot better.
Yeah.
They're just putting him on there because he was the most recognizable.
Yeah. It should be clear right now that this isn't so much a metal vocalist list, but just a rock vocalist list.
A very confusing variety pack.
Yeah. So what do they say about him that justifies him on here? In the dozen years that have now passed since his death, Kurt Cobain has further cemented his position as one of the most iconic figures in rock and roll history. While in all honesty, it is highly debatable as to whether or not such haughty recognition is his due, considering his all too brief work with Nirvana in the early 90s, the fact is that Cobain is now hailed as a charter member in the pantheon of rock gods. Yet no matter how you may choose to view his legacy, there could be no question that Cobain's impassioned, pain-soaked work almost single-handedly changed the face of the contemporary music scene. Even today, a generation of rockers weaned on his impassioned lyrics continue to spew angst-filled rhetoric that was Cobain's preeminent musical calling card. How does that justify him being on a metal vocalist list?
Again, it's fanfare.
Hey guys, Future Shades here. Just want to mention something that I think I could have mentioned when we were filming this. But I believe that Kurt Cobain would have actually hated being featured on a list like this. Not just because of that one famous quote of his of, I would rather be hated for who I am than loved for what I'm not, which is exactly what Hit Parader is doing right here. But also because Kurt was pretty open about how much he just didn't really like metal. Like, not all metal, obviously, because Black Sabbath was an influence on Nirvana's sound. And I think I remember reading somewhere that he also liked some crossover thrash bands like Dr. No. But his music taste was always known for being pretty hipstery, which is what got me to view him as kind of a pretentious snob. Not helped by the fact that I remember reading somewhere else that he referred to a lot of the mainstream metal of the time as dumb kid music, and Lord knows what he might have thought of nu metal had he been alive at that time. So all this just adds more reasons for why I really do not think that Kurt Cobain really has a place on this list. At the end of the day, while I do appreciate that Nirvana's popularity gave way for a lot of my favorite alternative rock, alternative metal, punk, and even post-grunge bands to come on the scene, like, it's hard for me to view Nirvana as having changed things for the worse with that in mind, even while the glam nerd in me does still feel a bit of resentment. With all that in mind, as much as I respect Nirvana for that, as well as for giving us Dave Jesus Grohl, of course, I'm still really not a fan of Nirvana's music. And even if I was, I don't think Kurt Cobain should be on this list. All right, back to the video.
19, David Lee Roth.
Van Halen, baby.
And his solo career in the mid-80s.
David was a very, very energetic vocalist.
Of course. It's rather amazing to consider the notion that there's now a generation of fans out there who more quickly recognize David Lee Roth as the dude who tried and failed to replace Howard Stern on the radio than as to progenitor of an amazing hard rock style and sound with Van Halen. Indeed, it was Diamond Dave's late 70s work with the VH crew that created the blueprint for the long-haired, good-time, party-hardy frontman that was soon followed to the letter by countless thousands of Roth wannabes during metal's decade of decadence in the 80s. Okay, so maybe there were some vocalists who could sing Rings Around Old Dave, but combined with his unmatched stage skills and his amazing talk-the-talk, walk-the-walk sensibility, there was an R&B meets metal vocal approach that was totally his own.
I mean, I'm more of a Sammy Hagar era of Van Halen.
I disagree!
But I cannot deny that David Lee Roth was a unit.
Yeah, great frontman for sure. One of the best in history.
A great unit that was mostly made up of cocaine. That's how he was just making all those jumps and shit.
Yes.
The dude was literally coke.
18, Paul Stanley of Kiss. So, again, I don't consider Kiss a metal band, so what do they say here? It's hard to be taken that seriously when you're standing on stage in 7-inch heels, bare-chested, your face covered by black and white makeup, highlighted by a trademark star over one eye and ruby red lips. But somehow Kiss's Paul Stanley has not only made such
accoutrements
work for him over the last 30 years, each and every one has helped place him among the most recognizable figures in hard rock history. As the star child of Kiss, Stanley has provided style and substance to some of the most famous sing-along metal anthems in history, and he's even dabbled in Broadway-style productions in his downtime, starring in a road company of Phantom of the Opera.
And he was made for loving you, baby.
Live to win till you die, till the light dies in your eyes. 17.
Roger Daltrey of The Who.
I don't know. Again, a good rock band, but it's just like, what the fuck?
In my opinion, The Who invented hard rock, but
Yeah.
metal?
That title is for Black Sabbath.
Yeah. Though in the minds of many, he's usually been forced to play second fiddle to the likes of Robert Plant when it comes to the category of lion-tressed British hard rock frontman of the early 70s, The Who's Roger Daltrey never needs to take a backseat to anyone. When it comes to pure rock and roll talent, the diminutive Daltrey stands tall. Possessor of one of the form's most powerful voices and the inadvertent inventor of the famous My Generation stutter, Daltrey's demeanor and microphone-twirling stage skills have turned him into one of hard rock's most iconic figures. He's also on occasion proven himself to be an actor of note. This list is dumb. 16, Jonathan Davis.
Are you ready?
Of course. I'm always ready. There has always been something dark and mysterious about Korn's Jonathan Davis. It fills his lyrics with a foreboding, ominous aura that adds fuel to the propulsive fires that serve to distinguish Korn's trademark down-tuned sound. But there's also a playful side to the Davis stage persona, one that often appears when he whips out his bagpipes and begins to play in the midst of each and every Korn concert. It is this dichotomy of attitudes, especially when teamed with Davis's uniquely pained vocal delivery, that has made this Bakersfield, California native one of the most recognizable stylists of the nu metal era.
Jonathan Davis is one of the best vocalists and out there. Like, I love his range, I love his style, I love his energy. He is one of the best.
Of course.
And also his mic stand that was designed by the late H.R. Giger, rest in peace, his soul.
Alright, get ready to laugh at this next one. 15, Mick Jagger.
So funny, I forgot to laugh.
What is Mick... You might as well next put all 4 of the Beatles on here. We keep getting heat from some corners of the rock world for including members of the Rolling Stones in our various top 100 lists. Oh sure, today there are little more than ever torturing money-hungry gramps with amps about as connected to the real hard rock scene as the Mormon Tabernacle Choir, but let's hark back to a simpler time in the mid-60s and try to place the role that Mick Jagger and his boys played in first introducing hard rock to the masses via sexually suggestive, guitar-driven hits like Satisfaction. Such tunes may sound as tame as a neutered pussycat today, though they still sound mighty good to us, but back then those songs were about as hard, heavy, and revolutionary as anything anyone had ever heard. Metal, though?
No.
Number 14, Jeff Tate of Queensryche.
Queensryche, I do know that it's Make Me Bad 35's favorite band.
Yeah. Great singer for sure. I don't really like him, though.
I'm not very huge on Queensryche.
Queensryche.
I've always saw it as Queensryche. My bad.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I used to pronounce them as Queensryche.
Queensryche, 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 Queensryche.
Are we cringing yet?
When Queensryche released their latest disc, Operation Mindcrime 2, earlier this year, it seemed to once again focus the often wavering attentions of the rock world on the incredible vocal dexterity of Jeff Tate. Not that Tate's talents should be any sort of revelation to the hard rock community, considering that he has been displaying his incredible range and mind-melting power for the better part of the last 25 years. Yet in this age of prefabricated Pop-Tarts and talentless rock-rap wannabes, Tate's unique talent stands as a rather reassuring nod to the time-tested notion that his skill holds his own in the heavy metal kingdom. Yeah, they make good stuff for sure.
I have no opinion.
They pretty much defined what progressive metal was and whatnot.
Yeah.
Number 13, Geddy Lee of Rush.
Great band.
Great band, but metal.
What you said about Queensryche, I would say Rush outlined everything with progressive rock.
Yeah.
And good God.
Like, prog rock already was, very much a thing in the 60s and whatnot, but I've always seen Rush as the band that really modernized it for the time.
I remember watching The Iron Claw with my brothers, and they had Tom Sawyer, and it was actually the theme for Kerry Von Erich when he was wrestling. Rest in peace, Kerry.
Few highly regarded rock vocalists have ever been the subject of more derisive criticism over the years than Rush's Geddy Lee. Let's face it, that high-pitched wail is rather distinctive. But such attention frequently goes hand in hand with incredible success. For a generation of fans, Lee's distinctive, ear-shattering warbling is nothing short of a clarion call, repeatedly drawing them into the complex, often fascinating art metal world put forth by this Canadian power trio. Actually, Lee's voice has deepened a bit over the years, providing a bit more substance to Rush's compositions, both old and new. Yeah, great musician, phenomenal musician for sure.
And also fucking awesome band.
Yeah.
I'm fine, Geddy! I don't know, Geddy Lee. Yeah, he lives with me now. Yeah, I don't know how this shit happens.
Number 12, your boy, Sammy Hagar.
Yes! Sammy Hagar, I love the song. It's About Time. The opening riff to It's About Time is so fucking awesome.
Love him, hate him, or merely accept him, Sammy Hagar is one vocalist who has worked long and hard to earn the respect of everyone who has ever loved hard rock. Starting out as the power-voiced frontman for the seminal early 70s American band Montrose, Hagar went on to launch a highly successful solo career where his red rocker persona and leather lunge delivery made him an arena-filling star. But at the height of his fame in the mid-80s, he decided to throw his musical lot in with Van Halen, with whom he made some of the biggest selling albums of the next decade. He even got back together with the VH Boys for a somewhat surprising reunion tour back in 2004.
Nice.
Okay, so yeah, not the hugest Hagar fan, but always appreciated his solo stuff. Montrose is okay.
Hey guys, Future Shades here. I am obligated as a Satriani fan to say that Chickenfoot is also awesome and they should have made more albums.
11, Axl Rose.
We live in a fucking clown world.
Yeah, not a band I consider metal. I don't even consider them part of Glam.
Again, just like AC/DC, Guns N' Roses is so overrated. I'm sorry. I am fucking sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I love Appetite for Destruction. I love Use Your Illusions. But yeah, I feel Guns N' Roses gets a bit more praise than deserved, a little bit. Few performers in rock history can garner a more immediate and strong reaction from fans than Axl Rose. Just mentioning his name, or that of his band Guns N' Roses, is a virtual guarantee to open up a tidal wave of emotion and energy from just about anyone old enough to have lived through that unit's kinetic, rambunctious, rebellious, yet all too brief golden years in the early 90s. But that's just the kind of performer Rose was, is, and always will be. His vitriolic style and go-for-the-throat dynamics were designed to bring out the beast in all of us. And despite the Greta Garbo-like low profile he's maintained in recent years, rumors persist that a new GNR album will someday appear, and that's what we got with Chinese Democracy, and we all love that, don't we?
Yeah.
His name remains one of the most exciting in the hallowed annals of rockdom.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Doesn't excite me.
Number 10, though, Ronnie James Dio.
Now that's a name that really excites me. Also,
Yes.
rest in peace,
Rest
Ronnie.
in peace. Yes, glad to see him this high. Did you know that Ronnie James Dio is credited with inventing the famed heavy metal Devil's Horn hand salute? Yes, I did know that.
We all know this.
Gene Simmons wants you to believe he did. Supposedly, he picked it up from his Italian grandmother who used it to place curses on her enemies. For that fact alone, RJD has earned his rightful place in the pantheon of metal greats. But such creativity is only the beginning of this diminutive New York State native's musical accomplishments. During his 30-year run, he has fronted headlining bands like Black Sabbath and Rainbow, while enjoying the rather unique distinction of garnering just as much celebrity for his solo work. Truly the possessor of one of the most powerful voices around, Dio continues to shine in a world of darkness. He's a rainbow in the dark.
Indeed, a rainbow in the dark. Fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Miss him.
Yes. Number 9, Paul Rodgers of, I think Free is the band he was mainly known for. Nowadays, he also sang in a Queen reunion that no one really likes acknowledging.
Oh, God.
Am I a joke to you?
Yeah, metal, don't know about that. To paraphrase his own introduction to one of his most famous songs...
Oh, shit.
What happened? I think I need to plug my phone in. I think the battery might have drained.
Fuck, yeah.
Okay, so now we're using my computer's webcam because my phone decided to die.
This has been...
Alright, so... To paraphrase his own introduction to one of his most famous songs, he was alright then, and he's still alright now. Actually, Paul Rodgers is a bit better than alright. In fact, he may well be the best pure vocalist in the history of the hard rock form. Over the last 30 years, whether it was fronting Free, with whom he recorded the timeless All Right Now, Bad Company, right, he was in Bad Company too, with whom he enjoyed his greatest commercial acclaim, or more recently as the surprising choice frontman for a reconstituted Queen, Rodgers' gruff blues-based delivery has maintained its uniquely powerful cutting edge.
But is he alt-right?
God damn it.
You just got knocked the fuck out!
Number 8, Ozzy Osbourne.
The Prince of Darkness.
Of course, a list like this will never be complete without him.
I think we all know of our praises of Ozzy Osbourne, how he is still fucking with us after all these years, and how the dude is a fucking unit, and also good on him for turning down Kanye West.
Yes. So, in the heavy metal world, a rather arbitrary distinction often has to be drawn between talent and personality. Anyone who has not been living in a cave over the last 3 decades certainly recognizes the name, the stuttering voice, and the shuffling gait of the inimitable Ozzy Osbourne. Clearly the greatest hard rock personality of all time. But since this top 100 list also must calculate in talent as one of its fundamental prerequisites, the Oz drops a few places in our rankings due to his persistently nasally drone. Despite it all, however, his inimitable work with both Black Sabbath and as a solo performer, as well as his legendary bat-biting, Alamo pissing off stage antics, mark him as one of the quintessential rock gods in metal history. Obviously, anyone clicking on this was expecting to see Ozzy somewhere,
Yes.
so...
I mean, how is this a list without Ozzy?
Yeah. Same with number 7, Bruce Dickinson.
I do consider Bruce Dickinson a absolutely legendary frontman for
course.
one of the most legendary metal bands, Iron fucking Maiden.
Yeah, like, I do think the metal community tends to overhype Maiden a bit, but their sound was like...
Fucking Maiden's awesome.
Yes. Sometimes as he prowls the stage with an almost relentless energy, it seems as if Bruce Dickinson is like a caged lion on the prowl. He dashes his way, and that. He grabs a British flag and waves it passionately in front of his adoring audience. No matter in what nation Iron Maiden may be performing in that given moment, he shakes his head and stomps his foot to the savage beat his bandmates bring forth on song after song. And best yet, when he opens his mouth to sing, out comes one of the most powerful metal voices of all time. A gifted writer, a fully accredited airline pilot, and an Olympic-quality fencer, in addition to his abundant singing skills, Dickinson is truly a rock and roll renaissance man.
He is a one of a kind.
Yeah.
That dude has a resume of just being awesome.
Yeah. Same with number 6, Freddie Mercury, may God rest his soul.
And
I love Queen, one of my favorite bands,
Queen's
but
great.
metal...
No, they were a rock band.
Yeah,
but one of the
phenomenal hard rock band.
legendary rock bands
Of
all time. They have some great music, and of course Bohemian Rhapsody is legendary.
Yeah. It can be argued, in fact it has been argued, that Freddie Mercury's untimely passing from an AIDS-related illness in 1991 cemented his position among hard rock's all-time greats. No, it didn't. During his life, many pundits acknowledged Mercury's unmatched theatrical flair as well as his unique singing style, but it took his tragic death to put all that he had accomplished with Queen in some sort of proper perspective. Now, more than 15 years after his passing, he ranks among the most influential and hallowed figures in rock and roll history. He was a phenomenal singer. I don't think anyone would argue otherwise.
Nobody would ever argue, and I think Rami Malek, the actor's name. I didn't see the film.
I didn't either.
I heard that he did pretty good as Freddie. I did watch History Buff's 2-part videos on Bohemian Rhapsody. He goes in a lot more depth.
Number 5, Bon Scott. Once again, I don't consider AC/DC metal.
Again, appealing to just appealing.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Future Shades here. The word that he was looking for when talking about who Hit Parader was trying to appeal to there was boomers.
Bon Scott was a true rock and roll original, emanating a sweat-drenched blue-collar charm from every pore of his tattooed body. On AC/DC's early albums and tours, Scott often came across as something akin to an interstate truck driver who just happened to make a wrong turn and ended up on a concert stage. But his sandpaper-like vocal delivery and obvious gruff sex appeal served to instantly win over fans while providing the perfect foil for guitarist Angus Young's patented schoolboy strut. It was one of hard rock's greatest tragedies when in 1980, Scott succumbed to exposure after falling asleep in his car after a night of heavy drinking.
That is not a way to go.
Yeah. Now, number 4, Chris Cornell.
Rest in peace, Chris.
Yes.
I swear, it was like almost everyone on that list, a good chunk of them are like dead. Chris Cornell was a great singer. I loved Audioslave and Soundgarden. Great stuff. Like a Stone happens to be my favorite Audioslave song. And also, say what you will about Tom Morello, he was awesome on that guitar solo.
But yeah, it's kind of nice seeing him as high on this as he is.
Yeah.
It's hard enough to be the focal figure in one successful band. Over the last 2 decades, Chris Cornell has played that vital role in 2 major groups. Starting out as the frontman for the late lamented Soundgarden in the late 80s, Cornell's impassioned voice and dynamic stage persona helped forge a link between the then still divergent worlds of metal and grunge. And following that band's demise in the mid-90s, Cornell then went on to help form Audioslave, a group that has proven to be one of the most successful hard rock attractions of the 21st century. On stage and off, this guy is charisma personified. His voice was also just marvelous.
His voice was amazing.
And again, I mentioned earlier, Say Hello to Heaven by Temple of the Dog. Listen to him on that. You will want to cry.
I also loved his work with Casino Royale.
You Know My Name.
You Know My Name. That is so good.
Yeah. Number 3, Steven Tyler of Aerosmith.
Lady Arwen's true father. Get it? Because Liv Tyler played as Arwen in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Not a band I consider metal, but definitely a very
rock.
recognizable personality for sure. To the eyes and ears of many followers of the rock and roll world, Steven Tyler has come to represent the living embodiment of everything a true blue rock star is supposed to be. Rail thin, huge lips, hair out to there, and a wardrobe that seems tailor-made by some slightly off-kilter downtown designer. Aerosmith's frontman has a look and style all his own. But more importantly, this 56-year-old Boston native still has a voice that can shatter glass at 30 feet and a stage posture that is pure non-stop energy. No question, he is the ultimate American rock and roll singer.
Now he's 75 years old. Jesus.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Future Shades here. This isn't really anything important that I'm cutting away to do, but I figure what better time than now to bring this up since we're talking about Aerosmith, and I'm not sure if there's gonna ever come another opportunity for me to bring this up. But I actually met Aerosmith's bassist, Tom Hamilton, a little bit before I graduated college back in 2016. He came to speak at my school because he had a daughter that was attending there, and after the speaking event ended, a bunch of people brought things for him to sign. I just got a selfie taken with him, along with James, Gardens of Acadia's drummer, photobombing in there. And I spoke to Tom a bit after because he actually went to elementary school where I grew up, but then graduated from our rival town. So it felt like a nice little tying things together right before I graduated. Know what I mean? All right, we're almost done.
Number 2, Rob Halford.
Man, they put him up. They put him up there.
Of course, and why shouldn't they?
Of course, Judas Priest is another one of those great bands of the new wave of British heavy metal.
Yeah, I mean, even though the new wave of British heavy metal scene is more so associated with the late 70s, early 80s, and Priest were around earlier, I consider them part of that movement because they're British, they are metal, they're around that time, so If the human voice is to be considered a true instrument, then few performers in the rock realm have utilized that instrument with more power, force, and skill than Rob Halford. Throughout his 30-year career, most notably spent with Judas Priest, this native of Birmingham, England, has been one of the staunchest supporters of the metal sound, utilizing his 4-octave range to power song after song directly into the cerebral cortexes of millions of fans around the globe. In addition, his image as a Harley-riding, leather-wearing man of metal helped define the basic look for metal gods through the ages. Phenomenal singer for sure, and one that absolutely deserves to be very high on this. But you may be asking yourself, if Rob Halford isn't number 1, who is number 1?
Let's find out.
Some of you will probably be surprised, others probably won't be. It is Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin.
It's appealing.
Dear Plant.
Yeah.
But again, I could understand why, because I can remember in the late 2000s, everyone was just going mental on Led Zeppelin.
Yes.
My older brother included.
Great band for sure.
If Black-
One that basically was a major proprietor of this particular bluesy hard rock sound. Talented members, once again. Some people consider them as being like the inventors of metal, along with Black Sabbath. I am not one of those people.
Black Sabbath is the hell, while Led Zeppelin is the heaven. They have some great songs, don't get me wrong. Stairway to Heaven is phenomenal, but I am more in tune with Kashmir. Kashmir is actually a song I don't like.
What?
I love that song, though. It's so sick.
Yeah, I'm glad that people like it, but I've always found it
That's
very
fine.
repetitive.
To each their own.
Yeah. So anyway, how do they justify putting him at number 1 here? If there is ever a commemorative postage stamp designed to honor the heavy metal style, then the preening, strutting, bare-chested, lion-tressed form of Led Zeppelin's Robert Plant must be the image that adorns such a tribute. In many ways, Plant's look as well as his uniquely powerful blues wail have come to symbolize everything great about the hard rock style. Indeed, if it wasn't for his pioneering work with the mighty Zepp, thousands of future vocalists would have needed to find different inspiration and guidance upon which to base their own interpretive efforts. Plant was, is, and always will be the definitive rock god. Phenomenal vocalist for sure, but again, I'm kind of mixed with his inclusion on a list like this, but that concludes this list here. So what do you think?
Oh my, I was so confused in some parts.
Yes.
And I was like, why are they putting some of my favorite vocalists down? And you completely forgot about Des Fafara. Oops! This was interesting.
Yeah.
This was interesting, and
this list boggled my mind when I first found out about it when I was in high school, and it's maintained a spot in my mind as one of the stupidest publications. And now that I've read what they had to say to justify some of these inclusions, I'm like, man.
It's more or less like a early mid teenager just discovering all this music and claiming,
it's like,
this is metal, this is metal, this is metal. And I'm like...
Yeah, it's like, I feel like you're kind of losing the plot of how metal is supposed to be defined. I mean, obviously, we all know that metal is a very broad spectrum and whatnot, but I feel like this list is pandering to way too many crowds.
Yes.
And that's why this list is so stupid. And one thing that I also couldn't help but notice, you know who also wasn't on this list?
Who was on that list?
M. Shadows.
Yeah, because this was like 2006.
Yeah.
And this was when
Avenged Sevenfold like just blew up with City of Evil.
City of Evil was huge with Beast and the Harlots and Save the Day.
And
Bad Country is a big one.
Yes. That one went to number 1 on TRL.
Yes.
So
yeah.
That's how big a deal Sevenfold was at the time. You'd expect them to be on something like this, but I guess they flew under Hit Parader's radar.
Yeah.
On that note, hey guys, present day Shades here, back home now after that little Florida trip. Thank you again to Atticus for being a gracious host.
You're welcome, babe.
And I'm sorry again for keeping you up that one night. So to conclude this video, let's do a little math. Of the 100 vocalists featured on this list, 37 of them are not from metal bands, at least in my opinion. Maybe some of you came out with a different number, and that's fine. Along with that, 23 of the vocalists on this list are from bands that debuted after 1994, which I think is a good year to use as a point of transition out of what many consider to be metal's classic era, and that might not have been around long enough to be considered worthy of inclusion on a list like this at the time in 2006, 8 of which also overlap with the non-metal category. When we add all that together, we get a total of 52 people, a little over half of the list, that probably shouldn't be here. This isn't me saying these are bad singers or that the bands they're from are bad. Atticus and I spoke pretty positively about a vast majority of the people here, just that they wouldn't make sense to include on a top 100 metal vocalists list, or at least they wouldn't make sense to include on the list in 2006. I'm sure a number of you watching have been pretty baffled throughout this series, not just at some of the vocalists that were included on this list, but at the ones that weren't included, especially if they were around before it was published. So I asked myself the following two questions. Who would have made for better choices for inclusion? And if this list were made today, who would I want to see included in the discussion, along with the classics we already talked about? So I decided to end this video and this series with a little montage outro of great metal vocalists that were not included on the list, either because the band wasn't around at the time, or because they just didn't make the cut for whatever reason. I scrolled through my library and wrote down a bunch of names from various metal bands I'm into that weren't included, and I had Atticus list a bunch of his favorite vocalists that weren't included, but I also decided to ask you guys on the community tab to name your favorite metal vocalists without giving any context for what this was for. This is what it was for. I figured this would be a cool way to not only involve you guys in this project, but to also show that while I do believe they had the best of intentions when making this list, we aren't here to shit on Hit Parader or whoever it was that wrote the list, and that we as a community here can provide some insight on how it could have been better, even if it wasn't published in 2006. Some of the names you're going to see here are going to have you feeling shocked and appalled that they weren't included, especially knowing that Hit Parader had an opportunity to do so. They'll be appearing in alphabetical order by last name, and any suggestions you guys made for this will be credited, even if Atticus or I wrote them down too. A small few of these are from bands I don't actually consider to be metal, but I think have their place where, much like what we said about Jamie Josta in Part 1, I wouldn't object to them being on a list like this. Feel free to mention others that I forgot or that you're surprised weren't included in the comments. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy this metal vocalist montage.
Contract with the devil. I tried for so very long. I died to become immortal.
Immolation.
Take some venom and accept that you won't see no sorrow. The rainbow leads you home. Warrior sent to Milky Way, UFO shooting gamma ray. A riot of destruction. Watch the rock pitch go down and vixen spread. When the priest kill the maiden in the metal church, all the saints and warlocks watch the slaughter. Rage of the slayer forced the pretty maids to kiss the queen in crimson glory. You were born a motorhead, bikes in flames you race ahead. You knew the cancer's rush, racing with the motley crew, annihilate chasing you with guns and burning roses. Status quo has been reached, was unleashed. When the priest kill a maiden in the metal church, armored saints and warlocks watch the slaughter. Rage of the slayer forced the bleeding maids to kiss the queen in crimson glory. Take a sky ride with me, then you'll see. When the priest kill a maiden in the metal church, all the saints and warlocks watch the slaughter. Rage of the slayer forced the bleeding maids to kiss the queen in crimson glory. Couldn't make no money as a singer, didn't seem to get too far. So I sell pop brownies and vodka down from the backseat of my car. Moving back to Chicago, gonna rest my aching head. Spotify took my last 2 cents and the butter for my bread. Gene Simmons said it. Rock and roll is dead. Rock and roll is dead. I never did it for the money. I only did it to get laid. But I can't buy shots for the ladies if there's no way to get paid. guitar on the streets, taking handbags from old ladies while they respond to Trump's tweets. Apple came to town ringing, a dead nail for the band. If I can't make money selling records, I'm gonna make it any way I can. And I'm gonna keep on rocking your ass as long as I'm on the right side of the grass. 'Cause heavy metal rules. Oh yeah. Heavy metal. Madonna, she's a dead. Heavy metal. That punk shit belongs on Mars. Heavy metal rules. Talking. Heavy metal rules. Van Halen. Heavy metal. They all fucking rules. Heavy metal rules. And everybody else can suck my fucking
You can't kill the metal. Metal will live on. Punk rock tried to kill the
Oh, babe!
Punk rock tried to kill the metal, but they failed as they were smite to the ground. New wave tried to kill the metal, but they failed as they were stricken down to the ground. Grunge tried to kill the metal. They failed as they were thrown to the ground.
No one can destroy the metal. The metal will strike you down with a vicious blow. We are the vanquished foes of the metal. We try to win for why we do not know.
Morbid angel. Carpet. Carpet.
We say change the world with metal. Change the world with steel. Change the world with metal. Grinding the meat. Change the world with metal. Change the world with steel. Change the world with heavy metal. Change the world with metal. Change the world with steel. Change the world with heavy metal. Grinding the meat.
Thank you for watching. Take care and have a nice day.
I'm Atticus, the Death Metaller.
Uh,
Keep it metal. Have an excellent and blessed day.
And I'm Shades, and I'll see you next time. And thank you for having me over.
Can I go now? Jesus Christ.